I don't know if you are like me, maybe coming into Hebraic things and Messianic things, and particularly as it pertains to holidays and holy days, and wondering how am I ever going to remember all of these things about the holidays and the holy days and what they represent. And then also about the months, the Rosh Kadesh, and from month to month. How am I ever going to remember all of the things that pertain to the months? Well, I found a little way that works for me, and maybe it will work for you too. My name is Deborah Mobley, and I'm with Ministry of Shofar. And today I want to show you one of the things that I do in my home to represent each month. This is a way that I can reflect on what the characteristics of the month are and to visually remember those things from day to day so that I know how to process throughout the month. So for instance, here in this little section of my kitchen and in my hallway, I have this wall and it has a couple of things on it. For one, it has the calendar for the month. This is a Hebraic calendar, and that keeps me on schedule with whatever the dates are through the month. It lets me know when the month comes in, and it lets me know as the month is ebbing out and going into the next month as well. And then it also tells me if there are any holy days or holidays that are going to be observed. Now, for instance, we're in now the month of Adar, and the month of Adar hosts a holiday, a biblical holiday, and that holiday is Purim. And so what I have on this wall is, in addition to my calendar, I have two other little chalkboards. One I use to tell me or to keep record of what the month is. I can also put, for this time, I put the dates of when the month starts and when it ends. And I also remind myself that this is month number 12, okay? And then on the other chalkboard, I write down different characteristics of the month. For instance, I mentioned that this month hosts the holiday Purim. And so on the chalkboard, I have Purim because I want to be reminded of that. And then there are some great themes that go along with each month. So for instance, this month is about God delivering his people. And we find that through the book of Esther, where we read about Purim and the deliverance God wrought through Queen Esther and the deliverance that he provided for his people. This month is a month that also talks about true identity. This is a month when Queen Hadassah went from Hadassah went from Hadassah to Queen Esther. And she really stepped into her true identity when God called her to speak to the king in the preservation of the Jewish people. So true identity is a theme for the month. Also, removing the mask is a theme for the month. And then finding hidden supply is a theme. Curses being overturned is also a theme for the month. And developing a war strategy, entering into joy. All of these things are noted on this chalkboard because it reminds me of these are things that I want to be thinking about, praying about, looking about in the Word, and understanding what may be happening in my life as it pertains to those things. I've even represented, because this month does have and host the holiday Purim, I have some elements that pertain to Purim and these themes that are on the chalkboard. So for instance, Hadassah was just a plain Jewish girl when she came into power as the queen, or before she came into power as the queen. And so I have this little mannequin head here that represents Hadassah. But then I also have these beautiful scarves that she's arrayed in, because when she went to see her king and to talk with him about delivering her people from the decree that had been set against them, she arrayed herself in fine clothing. And so I put these scarves on to represent that. And then also this little crown represents the fact that she's stepping into her true identity. These sunglasses, even though they're blitzed up, they represent her having been masked up until that point, wearing a mask because her king didn't know that she was a Jew, and that if the people were annihilated, that she would be annihilated right along with them. So those shades represent that, because shades often hide who we really are. And then I have the scepter, which would represent the king's scepter that was held out to her. I also have this knife. This is a knife. And it does represent the fact that the Jewish people had to fight for their lives, and they were given the opportunity to do so. And then after they had fought and after they had received victory, they celebrated. So this little waiver is here to celebrate and to remind us of the celebration. And we can wave that in celebration and remember that as that's on the table. We can remember victory, okay? And then lastly, I would just put a little bouquet right here, again, because the month is has the color purple, or is represented in the color purple, and so I put that on the table. And so however you decorate, however you want to remember and remind yourself about each month, do that. Don't let the months go by without really entering in and receiving the fullness of what each month has for you. Enter in the month of Adar. Celebrate, rejoice. God is our deliverer. Remove your mask, enter into your true identity, and enjoy.